Ferrari may have just delivered two of the most fascinating innovations of preseason testing so far, and the implications could be much bigger than they first appear. They debuted a unique exhaust wing diffuser, and then casually a rear wing that can literally flip upside down in straight line mode. At the same time, they quietly stacked up miles, avoided major reliability issues, and looked stable. But Ferrari is Ferrari. So the real questions are, what exactly are these upgrades, and should Ferrari fans actually believe this time, or is this just another winter illusion? Ferrari first drew a lot of attention to themselves for some good reasons in the second Bahrain test when they debuted their unique exhaust wing diffuser. For context, in 2026 the beam wing was banned. That dramatically reduced what teams could legally do in the area behind the exhaust. It greatly reduced an area of development for the teams. Ferrari, however, seemed to have found a clever interpretation of these new regulations in that area. I'm not a technical guru by any means, so I won't pretend to know the exact ins and outs of all of that, but from what I've read so far, this exhaust wing appears designed to influence how the exhaust gases interact with airflow around the wing. And that matters because it could add downforce and therefore add performance. It's not such an obvious visual change like a side pod redesign, and it won't absolutely be game changing, but it's subtle and it's intriguing, and no other team has shown anything quite like it. Now, speaking of something more flashy, Ferrari made even bigger waves with their upside down rear wing concept. With DRS gone and active aero introduced in 2026, the FIA opened up new development freedom around the rear wing movement. Most teams have interpreted that freedom conservatively, essentially mimicking a DRS style opening. Ferrari didn't. Their flap rotates roughly 225 degrees and ends up inverted in straight line mode. The full performance effects of this isn't entirely known since it's so new and different, but the concept is fascinating. In theory, flipping the wing could reduce drag even more than just having the slot open, potentially generate slight lift at the rear, reduce rolling resistance from the rear tires, or even slightly assist braking because it could act like a mini parachute. It's innovative thinking. Ferrari did only test it for a short period of time, so whether it stays on the car or not is not entirely known. But what this does show is something important. Ferrari aren't playing it safe, and they're showing this innovative side of Ferrari that we haven't seen in quite some time. Here's the thing though, preseason innovation is great, testing mileage is great, reliability is great, but we've seen this movie play out before. Ferrari fans have lived through the cycle more times than they'd like to admit. Strong winter, optimistic testing, then reality. Look at 2025. Going into last year, Ferrari looked ready to fight McLaren for the title. They were strong at the end of 2024, momentum was building, Fred Vasseur was steady at the helm, and Hamilton's arrival was imminent. But that optimism faded quickly once the season unfolded. Or we can look at 2022, a competitive start to the ground effect era that quickly unraveled by mid-season. History doesn't paint a particularly cozy picture for Ferrari fans, but there is still reason to have some hope if you are a Ferrari fan. Ferrari didn't just show innovation, they showed stability, they ran high mileage, they avoided major reliability scares, their engine looked consistent, their pace looked near the front, their race simulations looked competitive, and their race starts looked to be class leading. In 2026 especially, reliability could matter more than outright pace early on because teams are still understanding the new power units and active aero systems. And Ferrari, at least in testing, they didn't look like they were scrambling. That doesn't guarantee a championship or guarantee them to be at the front of the field, but it does suggest competence, which is not guaranteed with Ferrari. So these upgrades from Ferrari are unique, and it's surprising that Ferrari, the team that sometimes can struggle with upgrades in recent times, are the ones bringing these innovations forward. They were very clever to figure out an exhaust wing workaround in an area that is more restricted than in previous years, and they have this really bold and unique rear wing concept that could completely change how we think about active rear wings. But with all of that, can Ferrari fans be hopeful? I would say cautiously, because the innovation is real, the testing was productive, the reliability looks solid. But testing is testing. Fuel loads are unknown, engine modes are unknown, sandbagging is real, insert probably Mercedes. Hope is justified, but expectations should be measured. We've seen this play out before, and more times than not, it ends with heartbreak for the tifosi. So what did you think of Ferrari's preseason testing? Do you think they can actually challenge for a championship this year, or do you think it's just another hopeful year that is going to end up in disaster for Ferrari? Let me know down in the comments down below, and while you're there, give the video a like, hit that subscribe button, and hit the bell to get notifications to see more F1 content for the upcoming season. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.